Mega Venom Trekkies, Tributes, and Inklings. For those of you who do not know me, my name is CPR, and this is Phantasmify, a place where I talk about all things sci-fi, fantasy, and life, all within a Christian perspective. Let's begin! But first, if you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down there. Yes, the one that's a little red rectangle says subscribe on it. And also, if you could press the little bell right next to it, that'll keep you notified for every time I post a new video. And I will try not to post them really late at night, just in case it actually notifies you. Also, if you could like this video, that would be super. Yes, the thumbs up, that's what it is. And also, if you could comment down below on things that you noticed from some of the topics I talk about, and what are your views on it? So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Oh, also, before I forget, I seem to have badly injured my knees. I slipped and fell on the pavement. And so if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that. And yeah, so that was really bad. So if you see me like moving a lot, it's just because my knees are really starting to hurt, because they are like giant strawberries that if they were actual burns, they'd be 2nd degree. Anyway, so now let's get into this video. So, today I wanted to talk to you about, the Chronicles of Narnia. So I absolutely adore the Chronicles of Narnia. I have loved it since I was a little girl. We would listen to it as audiobooks in the car. I think the first one we listened to was probably The Dawn Treader. Is either that or The Horse and His Boy, which I was hooked. I loved it so much. And so I wanted to talk to you about the allegory section of the Chronicles of Narnia. A lot of my friends don't actually realize that it's allegory. And they're like, oh, there are so many parallels to Christian worldview. There is a reason for that. It is because it is written for a Christian worldview. So for these next number of times, I'm actually going to be going through the allegories involved with the Chronicles of Narnia books. So today's I'm going to start with the one in chronologically first order, The Magician's Nephew. Now, there are so many allegories that can be packed in, so many really good truths that can be packed into these books, and so I'm just going to choose maybe the top 3 and go with them and run from there. So for The Magician's Nephew, of course, there is the allegory of creation. C.S. Lewis, it was later on in his life when he wrote The Magician's Nephew. It was one of the last books that he wrote. So he had already been writing in allegory with the other books for quite a long time beforehand. So this is one of his more blatant works where he actually was like, there's no question that it's allegory, because he tried to shape the creation of Narnia like the creation of the world, how I see it at least, and how the Bible says it happened. With in the beginning, God said, was in the beginning, God said, let there be light, and there was light, and God spoke everything into existence. I don't remember why I'm forgetting Genesis 1:1 right now, but simple verse. But anyway, so God speaking it into existence. So in The Magician's Nephew, Aslan speaks everything into existence, and it is so beautiful. I highly suggest, if you have not read it, you should totally read it, because it is so good. It is one of my favorite books, other than the fact that I want to be Polly so badly. Yeah, so it goes closer-ish to the end of the book, and kind of in the middle they have Aslan creating the world of Narnia by singing it into existence, and it's very beautiful. And that is, I think, one of the main allegories that a lot of people notice in it is the creation of the world, very similar to the creation of our world. So I think one of the second allegorical principles that stands out to me, at least, in The Magician's Nephew was things you choose to do don't just affect you. Now, spoiler alert, if you've not read the book, I will be kind of going along through a lot of the story of the book. I will try not to give away spoilers, but I highly recommend you read it, even if I do say some things and you're like, oh, spoilers! Okay, it's a lot better when you read it. So, the main character, Diggory, makes a lot of very foolish decisions throughout the book that result in one disaster after another, and his best friend gets hurt, and then his aunt gets hurt, and there are so many people who get hurt because of his mistakes. And I think this was one of C.S. Lewis's ways of saying, your decisions don't just affect you, they affect everyone around you, and oftentimes they affect them more than they affect you. So your poor decisions, oftentimes your sin, which is sin is anything you think, say, or do that doesn't please God. So shout out to CEF workers out there. So oftentimes your sin or your poor decisions can lead to someone else getting hurt, someone even that you might love very much. And I think that's like the second really, really big allegory in The Magician's Nephew. There are plenty of others that would take way too long to explain and go into. So, like I said, comment down below. What are some of your favorite parts of that book? Or some allegories you've noticed that C.S. Lewis writes about just in The Magician's Nephew, because I will be doing videos for the other books. But yeah, so yeah, tell me about that and your thoughts on that. And as always, guys, may the force be with you, live long and prosper, and nanu nanu.